Hello, in this exercise we're going to create Oracle Enterprise Manager database control. I've already created the database and the listener is up and running, but I've made 4 changes to that. So let's take a look at the changes that I've made. Show parameter, processes. Notice that I've changed the processes parameter to 501. Session cached cursors, and I've changed the session cached cursors parameter to 201. And last is that I altered the DB SNMP user to make sure that the account is unlocked and the password is known to me. So those are 3 things that I've done, and you'll need to do those for both database control and grid control. But there's a 4th thing that I did that's unique to the database control. Let's look at and in here I created an environment variable called Oracle _unique name or _UNQ name, and you have to define that before you can build your repository for database control. So those are the 4 things that I've changed. So now let's go ahead and create OEM for database control. So let's go ahead and do that. The command to do that is emca. If you don't know the syntax, you can go -h. And what we're going to do is here is -config db control db -repos create. Important to note that this says db control. When we use emca, we're going to use db control. Later, after the repository is built, we're going to use emctl, and the command there is we're going to use is db console. So there's I sometimes get that confused between db control and db console, but here when we're building we use db control. So let's go ahead and run that. ca -db control db -repos create. It's going to ask me a series of questions. Source db 1521. This might take a minute, and I might speed through this part. Okay, now you can see that this installation was completed, and we can see that the database control URL is this. In fact, let's try it out. And as you see, we got into the database control, so the web server is actually running. Now that we actually got the Oracle Enterprise Manager database control up and running, there's a few commands that we should be aware of. The first one is emctl status of db console. And it's up and running, and you can look here to see that at this point this is the URL to get into database control, and we can also start and stop the application. So let's just go ahead and do that. emctl stop db console. Sorry, emctl stop db console. Let's run emctl status of db console. Let's start it again. emctl start db console. Okay, and let's look. emctl status db console. Sorry, emctl status db console. Okay, and the last command I want to show you is emctl get em home. And this is important because if you ever have to drop and recreate your database control, you may have to remove some of these configuration files, this configuration file that is found here. So run the get em home, and you might need to remove it if you're going to recreate. And that's it for this particular session.